Robert Rooks, and of course the renowned activist, let's start with that, and artist, the one and only Meek Mill. And we're all here to celebrate a major milestone for criminal justice reform in the land of Lincoln. Improving our justice system has been a focus of mine from the very beginning, and working with the General Assembly and with some of the advocates that are here today over the last 4 years, we've made extraordinary strides. We expanded voting rights for detainees awaiting trial. I've expunged more than 800,000 low-level cannabis arrest records, on top of pardoning an additional 26,000 people who committed nonviolent offenses. Illinois has reduced our prison population by more than 26% in the last 4 years. We've invested hundreds of millions of dollars to lift up communities most harmed by the failed war on drugs. And we've eliminated a wealth-based system of pretrial detention, replacing it with one based on the threat that a defendant poses to a community or the likelihood of them fleeing prior to trial. Those are the bases on which we ought to be making those decisions. The list goes on of the criminal justice reforms that we've been able to do. Again, I'm looking at my colleagues in the General Assembly, and they really are leaders on this. We work together and think about what we need to do every day, every week, every month, each year that I've been in office, and we really have accomplished a lot. I'm very, very pleased. Look, we have more to do, and that's why we're here today. In Illinois, more than 100,000 people are currently serving time on probation, on parole, or mandatory supervised release, but our current supervision system too often operates unfairly, with rules that make it simply a revolving door back to jail. In fact, more than 25% of people who are released from prison in Illinois end up back behind bars, not because they're recidivists, but instead for a non-criminal technical violation. That's not a system designed to improve public safety. That's not a system that's promoting rehabilitation. It's a system that values re-incarceration, and it's going to change beginning today. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to sign legislation that focuses our mandatory supervised release system on creating successful outcomes for those who were formerly incarcerated and improves the safety and peace of our communities. It's a system that is evidence-based and transparent, which is just what our families and our neighborhoods deserve. And here's what the new law does. It helps those who were formerly incarcerated get jobs by developing more higher education and work opportunities. It establishes regular reporting to provide timely and meaningful updates to parole decision makers on the Prisoner Review Board and to people on mandatory supervised release. No one is left in the dark as a result. Transparency is so important to the future of this system. It requires drug testing only when there is a reasonable suspicion of illicit drug use, not just randomly, not just when someone says, do it now. There has to be some reasonable suspicion of illicit drug use. But it also puts fairer and more transparent policies in place that create accountability on both sides. Look, this is common sense, evidence-based criminal justice reform that improves public safety, decreases taxpayer costs, and lowers the likelihood of reincarceration. It creates an incentive for people to pursue recidivism reducing, say that 3 times fast, recidivism reducing activities like education. And this new law reduces caseloads of supervision officers, allowing them to spend more time on individuals who pose the greatest risk or who have the greatest needs. But at its core, this is about second chances. second chances for people like Meek Mill, who've used their experiences in the criminal justice system to spur positive change for themselves, for their communities, and for our nation. Thank you, Meek. To our chief sponsors, the President Pro Tem of the House, the Speaker Pro Tem, sorry, not President. We don't have those in the House of Representatives. Speaker Pro Tem Jahan Gordon Booth and Senator Bill Cunningham. Those were our chief sponsors. I want to thank them for their fervent advocacy in our State House to send this legislation to my desk, to this desk. And I offer my gratitude, too, to the teams at the Illinois Department of Corrections, the Prisoner Review Board, the Administrative Office of Illinois Courts, the Illinois Sheriff's Office, and the Reform Alliance for working together, all of them, to produce a bill that speaks to the promise of Illinois, a promise of equity, of empathy, public safety, and true justice. With that, it is my great pleasure to turn it over to my partner in governance, my friend, one of the most compassionate people that I know that's